Society.
Strangers. Strangers in society.
Strangers on the internet.
The secret.
Strangers.
Society. Oh, welcome, stranger.
Secret society. Strangers.
Society.
Welcome to the secret society.
Strangers?
Welcome back to the Secret Society of Strangers podcast. I'm Lee. I'm your host here with Jamie and Josh as always.
How's
Hey.
it going?
Josh is thick as fuck tonight.
Thick AF with a half-eaten donut. There we go.
Great.
We have a guest. So this is one of our guest episodes. This is Chris.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Good.
So Chris is an experiencer of a lot of things. So Chris, if you want to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about yourself, and we can get into your phenomena.
All right, yeah. My name is Chris. I used to work as an emergency medical technician out in Los Angeles for several years, and then I moved back here to North Carolina, and now I work in IT.
Nice.
That's pretty much it.
Nice.
Simple. That's like most of us. I don't think we have too elaborate of backgrounds. We're not one of those podcasts where like I was a radio DJ and Josh is not a TV producer.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll get into the one that I'm most interested in.
Right.
You had an experience while taking out the garbage one night.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about?
All right. So what happened was it was like 2 a.m. one night, and I was taking out the garbage. And how our apartments were laid out is there was a like thin parking lot that you could just have one row of cars that could park there, and then there was a gap, and then there was a line of woods, and these were thick woods, and right near where the dumpster was, it was like the thickest part of the woods, and so I went there and I chucked the trash into it, and I heard some rustling in the bushes next to it. And it freaked me out a little bit because it was 2 a.m. and I didn't know what the heck it was. And so I started walking back to the house a little quickly because it was kind of creepy, but
Yeah, you got that like something behind you feeling.
yeah.
I'm good, man.
Nipping at your heels.
Yeah,
I'm not afraid, but I'm going to walk a little faster.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden I just got this feeling like I needed to turn around. And I turned around and there was this red fox just sitting there in the middle of the parking lot staring at me. And I just told it, I love animals, all animals. And so I was like, hey, just avoid people. Most of them are assholes, and I don't want you to get hurt.
I love that, Chris. That's fantastic.
It's good advice.
Yeah,
Really
solid
good
advice
advice.
for an animal.
If it's like an alien fox, that's exactly what that alien fox needed to know.
Oh, yeah.
A regular fox needs to know that.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah, and then right after that, it just like looked at me and walked off. And then that was pretty much it. I didn't think anything else of it. And then the next morning, I was getting ready for work. It was like 5 a.m. I know, 2:30 in the morning taking out the trash, and then 5 a.m. getting up for work. You know.
Yeah.
You've been there.
So he tells me you're really tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I get down to the car, and I open the door, and I'm putting my foot into the car and getting ready to like pull myself into the car, and I see right in front of where I parked, there's this giant tree, like right in front of our apartments, and I saw this giant. It was at least 8 foot off the ground because I went back and I measured how high the tallest branch was, or the first branch was off this tree.
Okay.
And it was at least 8 feet tall. It was just this clear, semi-transparent fox, and it was giant. And it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And it looked at me, and I swear it smiled. And then it just turned and jumped like it was going through this invisible doorway, and it vanished from the tip of its nose to the tip of its tail. It was really awesome.
That sounds awesome. Like super awesome.
I want to see that.
Sounds like some Alice in Wonderland shit.
It was so cool. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
That's the coolest. That's a
Any
really-
urge to follow?
Oh yeah.
And I try to
wanted
jump
to,
into the
but-
portal with it.
Yeah.
God, did you try?
No. I had to go to work. I was already running late.
That makes sense. You can't make a
Interesting, though. It's
detour
almost
into
like
unknown
spirit.
portals.
Yeah, but it's almost like spirit knows, like he's not gonna follow me because he's.
Mhm.
But you know,
But
Yeah.
just wanted to say, like, I see
Yeah.
you, you see me.
Yeah. It honestly felt like it was just trying to like thank me for looking out for the other fox the night before. That's what it felt like to me. I don't really know if that's what it was, but that's what it felt like.
I think it was some kind of message telling you like you're doing the right thing,
Right.
because it wasn't. You didn't get any kind of like menacing
there was
feeling or
absolutely-
anything.
Unlike almost all my other experiences, there was no fear. It was just like
Yeah.
it was there trying to
they like
say, "Hey."
It was like a big
I feel
thumbs
like
up.
it should
Hey
have like
man,
a top
you're
hat,
doing good.
Yeah.
like tipping its hat to you, like, hey, you did a good job. So do you think it was completely separate from the fox that you saw, or do you think that fox's spirit was what you saw? Like, did they seem related, or more like parent-child?
So
I'm feeling this one.
feel like it was the same thing to me. It just felt like it was some kind of nature spirit saying thanks for looking out for us, you know.
That's really beautiful. Have you had any other experiences like that with animals?
Not like that exactly, but I've had some really cool experiences with animals, non-spirit entity related ones, where
Yeah.
like I was feeding some chipmunks out of my hand, and then I was petting these deer that were at this at the beach one day, and that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that animal vibe.
Yeah, I guess.
No, and that's where my connection really is, because I was a vet tech for like 16 or 17 years. Before that, I worked in animal shelters and pet stores. So I've basically, and I have a dog boarding business now. That's all I do is animals.
That's awesome.
Better than people, to tell you the truth.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
all are better than people.
Yeah. And I have witnessed a lot of emotion being a technician.
Oh,
Obviously, we have those, euthanasias and
Yeah.
tough decisions. And
Yeah.
the one thing I think I come away with from most of them
Mhm.
is that the animal is all right when the person isn't.
Right.
Like the animal is okay that day. It's calm. It's like almost reassuring you that everything's going to be okay. Like I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
You learned your lessons from me. I love you.
Aw.
Bye. And like my own animals, I'm sure everyone has their experiences with their pets.
This is the hardest part of having a pet.
Yep. And then what I've realized is that everyone has literally served a purpose in my growth. Between like patience and like just the stuff that you go through with animals, the eating of
Yeah.
cell phones, the escaping out of yards, and you have that bond. And I think there is a bigger spirit there, and I feel like that's what that fox was.
Oh,
I agree. It was like it knew you had true compassion,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So it makes me almost wonder, like, different animals, are there animal spirits that are just all around all the time that we just don't see, but you got the chance to see that, like, it changed its frequency so that you could dial into it, so it could say thank you.
Yeah,
It's really beautiful.
it was a beautiful experience, and
That's beautiful.
it's legitimately the only one that didn't have me like on edge the whole time.
All right, so why don't you tell about one of those?
Yeah, let's hear about an edgy one.
Now that we got
Can I
the
tell you
good
something?
mushy stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something
Go.
really fast that happened to me? And I haven't actually
Please.
told anybody this. It's not the same, but it is sort of similar, I think. So this is about 2 years ago, year and a half ago. I was walking the dog, and there was a praying mantis that was in the middle of the little sidewalk. And I took Tallulah back, and I went back. For some reason, I just felt compelled to go back and visit this praying mantis. And I didn't know that there was the whole mantid kind of alien thing. I didn't even know about that. And I sat down, and I had a whole conversation with this praying mantis for half an hour. We hung out. I shit you not. And I was like, yeah, and I was talking about stuff, and like, I'm really glad you're here, and I got it some grass and everything. And then I was like, this is just so weird. But anyway, so I went back, and literally within just a few days, I stumbled upon a whole podcast about this man who had experiences with a mantis being, like a mantid. Is it called a mantid?
Yeah, I think so.
And that, like, and I had no idea there was that whole subset, which we need to do a show about mantids and stuff. But yeah, I feel sort of similar, where it was like I was kind to the animal in its physical form, and then I got rewarded later with the spirit. And it wasn't the same thing, but it was that podcast where I was like, oh, there's more to this. And I just think that's so lovely. And I just keep unpacking more and more things that I encounter. I'm like, oh my God, even there's more to this. So I never even thought about like other animals being that way and being willing to show themselves to you. And that, to me, that's like the ultimate trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that your spirit is kind and pure.
I certainly hope so.
So now tell us the scariest fuck shit.
Okay. So there's two different ones, and they're both kind of similar. When I was living out in Los Angeles, I was driving to work as an EMT, emergency medical technician out there, and it was like 4 a.m. because I had to leave 2 hours early. Traffic in LA is terrible.
Oh yeah.
And along the side of the highway, I just see something small. It's like 2 feet tall, and it's just sitting there pointing at my car. And as I got closer to it, I could see that it was this little tiny figure with this whitish mask on, and its hand was bone, and it was just sitting there pointing at me. And as I drove by, it went and just followed me.
Like, how far away were you when you first saw it? Like, how many car lengths maybe?
Oh man, probably about 5 car lengths, because it was small, so it was hard to see. But
yeah, and there was other traffic, I'm assuming.
Right.
So like singled you out.
Yeah.
And
just a small reaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. It honestly felt like a reaper, and
Was it pointing at you like this? Can you see it?
No,
I can't.
I can see it, but it's
Send
like,
it to me later, and I could.
are you a believer?
Oh.
And it's pointing like this. And I just saw this on Reddit today, that apparently, like, this is the symbol of unity and hope, is the 3-finger salute, which is what it was doing to you.
Weird.
Interesting.
That's really interesting. But yeah, I've lost like patience and stuff, and one of my uncles had died while I was living out in California. I don't know if the timelines line up for that specific thing happening. But it just, for some reason, it just scared the crap out of me seeing that pointing at
that would be
car.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Like the other day, my wife and I, we were going to Mother's Day brunch and stuff, and we were stopped at a stoplight, and then this ambulance went by, and then a car length, and then a hearse. I was like, oh, that is not well. Like, how unlikely would that be? But like, very fitting. It's so
They got the
wild.
express
It fucked
package.
with me. The express package. They got good insurance.
One and done. Just, wrap them up.
Or really bad insurance.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're sitting the hearse.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, you're done.
They're like, no, his HMO isn't accepted here.
They're shopping.
I didn't know skip the hospital was an option. Check.
It's like Ubering directly there.
Oh, man.
So, Chris, I want to know the timelines on this. So, when you saw the fox, was that before or after you became an EMT?
That was after. That was after I had moved back to North
When
Carolina.
you were already in North Carolina.
Yep.
So, when you saw this particular thing, how long had you been in EMT?
I'd been an EMT from the time I was a senior in high school, for about 5 or 6 years after that.
And so, do you think you were like adjacent to death so much that it changed your frequency that you can like perceive things that maybe you couldn't before?
That could be. Yeah, I mean, I got crazy night terrors as a kid.
Just been so surrounded by it.
Yeah, But who knows if it was the night terrors and stuff were related to anything supernatural or not. I have no idea. I just know I never slept as a kid. So. My parents said if I would have been their first kid, I'd have been their last. So,
Really?
yeah.
So have you ever thought about like abductions? Do you ever feel like possibly that's where those night terrors came from?
I don't know. It felt. I honestly have a hard time remembering any of my childhood, but it just. I think it was more just. Maybe as a kid, it was overactive imagination, or there was a time when I was a kid that I had a nightmare about these ninjas attacking me, and I kept feeling something hit my hand. And then the next morning, we found a bat was in the house. So that bat was likely what was hitting me in my hand.
Smacking you in the hand.
Yeah.
Bat?
Not like a real
Yeah.
bat.
Yeah.
Rabies shot.
Dracula.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah. Oh yeah, so many rabies shots.
So have you always been sensitive then, you think, since a child?
I honestly don't know. I know that other people in my family have seen things, so I don't know if that translates to me always having been sensitive or whatever. I've never called it that, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I see weird shit sometimes.
It definitely runs in families, from what I can tell,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
people we've talked to.
Oh,
most of my
Yeah.
family tends to deny that they see anything.
I mean, I did that for a long time because who wants to admit it?
Mhm.
Right. And there was one day after I'd moved back from California, me and my dad were out on their back porch, and I saw another black figure just walking
Really?
up the backyard, and I saw the look of terror on my dad's face, but he did not admit to seeing anything. I was like, "Dad, what's up?" And he was just,
Yeah, interesting.
"Nope." He was like, "I'm not talking about
Nah.
this doesn't exist."
That never happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about the thing that didn't happen.
I've been there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Because Lee, Josh, have you been like that, or are you okay? Like you were okay admitting this weird stuff has happened to you? Or do
Oh
you feel
yeah,
like-
no, it's been happening all my life. Like I used to see
Yeah.
like little shadow people when I was a kid, and it was so yeah. No, I've been used to it, and my house is haunted as fuck.
Yeah. But did you ever deny it?
Oh no.
No.
Mm-mm. But I grew up in that kind of home where it was just like, yeah, like everybody accepted that kind of thing. So like it wasn't like not encouraged, or it wasn't like, oh yeah, no, you didn't see that, blah blah blah. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
The
my house.
opposite environment from me.
Me too. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, what are the other things that you've seen? Can you think of
Well,
anything else?
Yeah, there was.
Or like, have you heard of any other EMTs like seeing any like weird things that you know, like EMTs that you know, or people that you've heard of?
There were a couple of people that I partnered with that had said they'd seen weird stuff, but they wouldn't go into it.
Oh, okay.
There was one dude that he had this really cool tattoo of like this Egyptian guy on his arm, and I asked him what. I told him it was a cool tattoo, and I asked him what the deal was with it. And he said he just looked at me and was like, "Yeah, whatever, I'll tell him." And then it was like a past life of his that he had where he was this person on his arm. It was really neat.
Wow.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, we should do a past life episode. That would be sick.
We should.
Our last guest
Yes.
was a past life therapist and hypnotist.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So who was the person on his arm? Do you remember?
It was just some Egyptian-looking guy. I can't really
Really?
remember. He just said he had memories of being back in ancient Egypt.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
The veil has certainly gotten pretty thin these days, it seems.
Yeah.
So, why did you decide to not be an EMT anymore? Was it just, did it get to be overwhelming with the things that you experienced, or?
Yeah, it was more. I just saw more death than what I want it to see, and in order for me to kind of keep doing that, I'd had to become a person I didn't want to be. Because I had seen some people who had been in the field for a long time, and most of them are kind of hardened to death, and I just never wanted to have that, like, I don't want to make EMTs sound bad, because they're not bad people.
Yeah.
But some of them are just like hardened to what they see.
Desensitized to death.
Yeah. You would
And
have to be, I would think, to be able to be in that job for a long time.
Yeah, because you're just constantly surrounded by death and all that sadness and stuff.
Right.
It's the same reason I left being a technician. It's emotional fatigue. And those people that choose to stay are not bad. They're not stronger or weaker. They've just put up a wall, and they've chosen to just put their head down and go through it, which is commendable. Like
if you can do that, that's awesome.
Yeah, we need them, obviously, but I got to a point where and I don't know, for people with the healthcare system's a little different, but like having to watch families make decisions that are financial and stuff like it's just not, it's too much. You know, I had a kid, and then I'm watching parents make callous decisions that like could be avoided or whatever. And that's not even to compare to like, God forbid, people taking their own lives, or dealing with family members of, so that's another like just highly emotional, stressful job. Like it's even because I would imagine like I took all my cases home. I'm sure after work you were not done with work mentally.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just didn't want to do that and just have that follow me all the time. So I had to stop, and I used up after one really bad call. I used up all my sick days, used up every ounce of PTO I had, and was just like, after that was done, I was like, I'm done. I'm moving back home.
Yeah.
I'm really like proud of you for taking care of yourself, especially and you may not have called yourself sensitive, and I don't mean sensitive as like, oh, I'm so sensitive, but like you just, are like physically sensitive to the change in frequency, and but that's always difficult to change jobs, and especially not to just change jobs, but to move to like the other side of the country,
Right.
So I have a student, and he shared with me last week that he is a fireman, also a volunteer firefighter, and he's a little too young for it, but
okay, Mom.
Right.
And he said that the worst thing that he has encountered so far is he responded to a house fire, and there was a 4-year-old who died like at the door, like at the door. And he's 17 years old and seeing it, and he was like, yeah, my mom doesn't want me to talk about it. She doesn't like to hear about this kind of stuff. But like his dad's a firefighter, and his uncle, and all this kind of stuff. And I think that, at least for me, and I think this goes with like anybody who serves in that kind of capacity, like you almost forget that there's somebody cleaning up that kind of stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's somebody who had to go in, just like the hearse and the ambulance and stuff. Somebody's got to deal with that little baby who died of smoke inhalation, and I don't know what happened, Chris, with you that made you want to quit, but I imagine it was probably a young child. That would be my guess.
It was a SUV full of them.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that, like, very difficult. And so I'm very grateful that there are people who will have that kind of job. And you, just like teachers, I'll bet you don't get paid nearly.
Not even close. No way.
Or like it's a volunteer firefighter. He doesn't get paid for it. He's volunteer. And these are the jobs that are like the hardest jobs in the world. When you're dealing with children and animals, because they are our greatest teachers. They're like the most innocent of us all. So I'm sorry you had to deal with that.
No, it took me a long time to get past all the PTSD from that and everything, but my wife helped me a lot. So.
Good. I'm glad you have.
So back to the paranormal.
Yeah.
I feel like we've weighed people down.
Yeah.
Everyone's sitting at home like, oh my god, life is so fragile.
Yeah, maybe the fox spirit came to you like, hey, we see you and we thank you for your service to your fellow humans.
Yeah, that could be it. It was just terrifying, though.
The fox.
Yeah.
The fox.
Yeah, that would
No,
be
not
very
the fox.
surprising to see at the
Fox
middle
is
of the
awesome.
night.
Yeah, the fox.
Yeah, the
was
little
awesome.
reaper would be so terrifying to see in the middle of the night while you're on a run.
Yeah, that was nuts. And then there was another one while I was living out in California too. I was driving home from work one day, and you said something about a mantis. This thing kind of looked like it was like a black thing wearing a cloak, but it looked like it had two like mantis scythes for arms. And it was sitting there alongside the road on my route home one day, and I had to do a double take, and it was still there when I looked back. And as I was turning onto the street I needed to go on, it was there, and it was just sitting there watching me as I was turning.
Did it point at you?
No, this one didn't point. It just followed me as I drove.
So
Yeah.
it makes me think of like books or sci-fi shows I read where like a certain gene type is able to like see through like alien cloaking or the supernatural. Like I feel like you're just like sensitive, and like I almost feel like you're catching some of these things when like they don't think
Expect you
they're
to.
being
They don't notice it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like the
They
guy
don't
like,
know
the
that
thing on the
you
side of the
know.
road realized you saw him and was like,
Yeah.
Oh shit, that dude.
yeah, like you know. And then I mean the fox
Oh.
might have seen you talk to the fox that night
That could be.
and knew that like you were going to be in that area, and knows that like you have that sensitivity, and was like, I'll just look him a little wink and I'll hop out of the way.
Test it out.
Yeah.
They're right.
That would be cool.
My guess
Just
is
walking and it's like,
Could be
don't
wrong
be
on this.
suspicious. Don't
Yeah.
be suspicious.
but I would say they've known you for a long time, Chris. That would be my thought on it.
Yeah, it could be.
Not the first time you've been visited.
No, I don't think that it was. I honestly think stuff has probably happened to me in the past, and that's probably a lot of why I can't remember large pieces of my childhood. But
When you said that, that's what
Blotting it
I was
out.
thinking too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that upset you, or does that make you?
I don't give a crap. It was childhood. It doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah. Just accepted it. There's no
Yeah.
sense. Just move forward. Yeah.
Have you ever considered like hypnosis or anything to try to
That's a good
find
one.
that?
I haven't, but I mean, I'm open to whatever. So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. I haven't tried any of that stuff, but I'm totally open.
yeah.
I think that's actually not a bad idea. We just interviewed someone yesterday. We were talking about he's a hypnotherapist and does the past life regressions and kind of stuff.
Nice.
But have you? I mean, we're getting into weird stuff now, but
Perfect.
like when you talk about abductions, that it's not negative. It's more that they're checking up on their family, basically, seeing how you're doing. So it's not a bad thing. So when I say abductions, I don't mean it in a negative way
No.
at all.
Mhm.
Like,
But-
Like visitations.
Yeah, like if you're a hybrid, basically,
right.
which kind of makes sense. Like if your whole family,
Yeah.
you know, you're like at some point.
I'm trying to think of the order that stuff is going to come out so I can
Yeah.
talk about stuff. Well, the guest you were just talking about, like, referenced other dimensions and other planets, and like other spirits have like been other places before or been other things before.
Mhm,
So who knows? Like, you can just be in touch with
mhm.
former spirit friends.
Yeah, that's kind of that's kind of the take I have on it. Is it's I think a lot of sightings are either windows into another dimension or windows into the past or future.
Mm.
So like and it's not like a window that you can actually see the window, but it's just like a quick peek of something that you wouldn't normally see. But
Yeah.
Yep.
Something that shouldn't be there, but it was just like, oh dang, wait. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I saw that.
yep.
Right. right, Chris, have you heard of CE5? Have you heard of
Huh?
that?
Heard
Have
what?
you heard of CE5? It stands
I
for
have.
Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind.
Uh-uh.
And so Stephen Greer, who I know some people don't like him, but and it's not just he there are other people who do it as well, but he does have an app where you can actively try to call in like orbs and UFOs and stuff, and
Dimensional beings and stuff.
yeah, and interdimensional beings and stuff. And they have tones that you can play and meditations, and like even down to like imagining where you are on the planet to like call them in. And so it'd be interesting if I don't know if you would ever want to try to do something like that. I know here where I live in Asheville, there is a CE5 group that I've been to a couple of times. I haven't seen anything. But with you being so sensitive, like, I don't know, I could see.
You might experience something.
Yeah, exactly. Like Chris Bledsoe, you know, that person's name. He's the one who sees all the orbs and stuff, and like government
On
officials.
command, right? Like he can like.
Yeah, he could call them in, and yeah, it's pretty remarkable. He wrote a whole book about the lady. I can't remember what he called her, but that will come and visit him, like angels will come and visit. So have you ever thought about trying to like summon where you're the one in charge instead of just happening to you that you actually are the one calling them in and saying, "Hey, come visit me"?
I haven't ever thought about it,
Yeah,
but I mean, that's something I'd be open to trying.
yeah.
There
Well-
was one time, and now this is kind of jumping to something entirely different. I had, I gotta, for this story to make any sense at all, I gotta tell you how my dreams work. Like 90% of my dreams are just regular bullshit stuff pulled from my subconscious.
Yeah.
10% of them are movies that I can change whose perspective I'm viewing the movie from.
Well, that's cool.
Oh, man.
Nobody sees me when I'm doing this in the dream, so it's just like something's happening and I'm just like, okay, this part's boring, let me go over here and see what's happening. It's kind of like in
Holy
like
shit.
a video game where you're on the kill cam where you can just change between
Yeah.
players and stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's kind of what it's like.
It's almost like one of our other guests. He was an early guest, Gaio, where he said like one of his near-death experiences, he saw like these TVs, and it was just different points of his life, and he could just like skip episodes and stuff like that. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just reminded me of him.
Yeah. And so there was one night when I was having one of these weird dreams. It was some boring movie about these teenagers and they were having some fight about a dance or something. And then all of a sudden, I'd never had this happen before, but I felt this like thrum, like a wave just pulse out through the dream. And nobody in the dream noticed it, but I felt it. And then I turned around, like left the person's view I was seeing and turned around, and there was this desert that wasn't there in the actual movie dream I was having.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this old guy sitting by a fire, and he was the craziest looking old dude I've ever seen. He had like scars all over his arms, and he had this like cloak on that was real shadowy. I know apparently cloaks are a common theme among all the stuff that I see, but and so he like points to me. He doesn't say anything. He points to me and he beckons me to the fire, and I sit down, and it feels like he and I were talking for years in the span of this dream, and it felt like he was trying to teach me something that I would need at some point. And then he was done for that night, and then I went back to the dream, and then I woke up. And then it happened every night for an entire week like that. Whatever dream I was having, this desert and this dude would always show up.
Huh.
And then we'd have this long conversation, and then the next day it would just be back to normal, and it was the strangest thing.
Do you remember any of the conversation?
I have
So that was
no
just
idea.
about to ask.
It was just I remember us talking, and I remember seeing our mouths moving the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
but what exactly the conversations were about, I have no idea. I got the feeling he was trying to teach me something, but that's the extent of what I remember about the conversation.
Oh.
Maybe you'll remember in time.
Right.
Whenever you need it.
Yes.
Right.
I was just listening to a podcast or something. I can't remember, but someone experienced something where it was like sort of similar, where he was being taught something. He can't remember it, but the message was your subconscious is downloading this, and when it's time, it will be revealed. Like, you don't need to worry about it. You don't need to try to remember anything. Just know that when the time is right, it will happen just as it's supposed to.
That's
And
kind
you
of
will have everything that you need.
Like a little gift from the universe.
Yeah.
There you go.
Attaching to the Akashic record for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't open until Christmas kind of thing.
Yeah.
Shakes it a little
Here's
bit.
this information, you'll need it one day.
That's awesome. I love that.
And I
It
just get the
reminds
feeling
me
it's
of Checks with Neo, where he is in the white room, with
All the TVs of himself and whatnot.
no, like where it's like completely barren and it's just Samuel L. Jackson.
and the
Oh.
TV and him.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't remember all the TVs.
the chair. I think there's like one TV. I think in the chair or two chairs.
Yeah, it's him and
Yeah,
Morpheus in the first one.
Morty.
Yeah.
It's when he
Yeah.
offers like, "Do you want a red pill or the
Mhm.
Yep.
you know. And
Or
so-
Harry Potter
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
when he's with Dumbledore.
Yep.
and all white.
Yeah, but then Voldemort's just like this little sad naked
Yeah.
mole rat.
Yeah.
or like even Yoda, like Yoda teaching Luke
Mhm.
things.
It was,
Shout out to the greats.
yeah. It was really strange because I could feel the sand beneath my feet and I could feel the hot desert air.
Stop it.
And
So
I
I-
could see... Go ahead.
No, you go finish your thought.
Oh, okay. And I could see like all the stars above, just like you can in the desert. The desert is one of my absolute favorite places to go because you can see all the stars, and I love it. But I don't ever get to go there anymore because I live on the opposite side of the country now. But yeah, it was
And in your dreams.
yeah, and it was just weird for that to show up with some old dude that I've never met before in my life.
Also reminds me of the movie with Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey, what's it called? Contact. Do you remember that?
Oh, where they had to build that machine.
Yeah,
And it's like she was only gone for like a second in Earth time, but she
like
was in a different realm and she was gone for a while, and she spoke to her father, and the man even said to her, like, I'm appearing in this form to you because this is what makes you like feel happy and secure and safe. And so maybe for you, it's like the desert brings you so much joy. You love it. That's where your teacher was like, this is the best place for you, where you will feel comfortable and confident and loved.
That's awesome.
And what did tell me again what the man looked like?
He was this old guy, and this is gonna sound crazy, but his eyes glowed orange, and he had scars all over his arms, like he had just been cut to hell and had all these scars. And then he had this cloak on that was almost like it was flowing shadows sitting on him. It was strange. It was neat.
That's beautiful. I can't believe he came back over and over again.
Yeah, that was the weird thing too, because I've had recurring dreams before, but they've never been ones like that. And every time it happened, there was that thrum of like power in whatever dream I was having, and then I'd just turn around and he was there in the desert.
I want to relate it to your other experiences. I feel like it's almost the same thing. Like it's just
Great. Especially with the
when
clothes.
when you're sleeping,
Yeah.
you're actually more able to go into their side of things because you're not physical. So I feel like that guy was trying to show you like there are two sides. Like look out for these things.
Oh man, that thing that you saw in the ambulance could have been him.
In that cloak.
Yep.
And so when did this dream happen? This happened in North Carolina, right?
Yeah,
After
this actually happened a month or two ago.
Wow.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Chris, this
Yeah,
is a
that's
really
why-
great.
That's
This
why I
is
hadn't
huge.
even thought about it when I had first emailed you guys, and then I was like, oh crap, I should tell them about this too.
That's
Totally
how it
fits.
how it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have another connection that I'm totally
What?
relating it to. That you guys are not gonna like. Well, you're gonna like it, but you're gonna be
I'm
like,
gonna
of course
love
I do.
What?
The Stephen King Dark Tower.
I was
I
thinking
need
that
to
the
keep
whole
reading.
time.
Thank
The
you.
end of that first novel, he has a long conversation in a timeless desert with the man in black, who's
Yep.
just
That's interesting.
a guy in black.
I never related it to that. That's good.
But I mean, your escape, like your visual escape, is that same concept. And I just imagine, like, as you're sitting there talking to him, like you're watching, and like you're watching the sky, the night sky, like change.
That's
like, the
exactly
stars
what it
go
was.
by.
It felt like time was passing overhead, like all the
I have that visual of like, yeah, because just that desert scene and that fact that like from the horizon up, you just see sky. So you're just watching time. And that's how you were able to tell it was a long time more than like the feel.
Right.
It bugs me out. I don't dream. I don't remember my dreams, so I'm always fascinated to dive into like people's dream meanings.
It tells me that Stephen King has obviously had experiences.
We think, yeah. Well, we could do
know?
a whole episode because you
write all
haven't got to
about?
the part in the book yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Well-
I'm not finished with the second one yet.
I know, I need to keep reading. But what amazes me is when you have experiences, because I've had a near-death experience, and Lee had done a lot of research. I haven't done any research really on anybody else that does the same. But that there are a lot of like common themes. And so what I find like fascinating is that the common theme between what you experienced and what Stephen King wrote about in his book. It's really fascinating. So if anybody's listening, if you've ever had a similar dream, or the thrumming of power, which I've been doing
Yes,
the
that's
Gateway
interesting. I want to talk about that too.
Row Institute, and I know that's like what you're supposed to. And I tell myself, I'm like, don't fall asleep, don't fall asleep. And every time I fall asleep before I get like the thrumming of power, it still hasn't worked. But gosh, that's like
Just
that's
power
what people,
edging.
people are trying to do what you did, Chris, and you didn't even try.
No, I've literally never tried to lucid dream or anything like that. And just 10% of my dreams are dreams, like I said, that I can control and change viewpoints from people on. And then it was just weird that in one of those dreams that happened. And I noticed it because I might not have noticed it had it been in any other dream.
Yeah, that's true. Did you have any like ability to feel like I could ignore this and like stay focused on the other part of the dream, or were you
yeah.
like,
I
immediately
could have.
turn to?
And so you had
Good.
control pretty much.
Yeah, I definitely had a choice, but I wasn't gonna ignore that thrum of whatever power that was coming through the dream. Like the first time it happened, the pulse happened like 3 times before I actually turned around to look. And then after that, I was like, oh, okay. So then every time that pulse happened, I would just turn around immediately and look and see the old guy.
What did this thrumming sound like? Was it similar to, like, you know, when people say "om" and they chant that? Was it like that "om" kind of sound at all?
The best thing I could equate it to was I had been in a place one time where fireworks were going off in 3 different points all around me, and you could feel the like vibrations of those fireworks in your chest, and that's what it felt like as this wave would pulse through.
That's
It
interesting.
just felt
Like
like
an
this.
explosion. You feel the air compression.
Right.
Just a
like,
bunch of
throughout your
pressure.
chest. Yeah. Wow.
And do you remember anything that he told you at all? Anything?
James like,
Nope.
remember.
I-
I'm gonna try to hypnotize you right now.
Yeah,
Remember.
yeah. Like
I will say the guy yesterday, the hypnotherapist guy, I don't know about you, Lee, but I kept like trying not to yawn. He was very good. I was like, I think I'm being hypnotized right now. So, we'll give you a second number later if you need it.
He's foreign. He has an accent, and he's from Europe. So Europeans, they just tend to have like a slower cadence. They are way more patient with their
Like, he's
words.
a really good hypnotherapist.
Yeah, so he could
Right
definitely
here.
lull you right in. Like,
So I don't have the same, but yeah, imagine the watch.
Oh, did he try to hypnotize one of you two?
no.
No, But
Oh,
he did anyway.
So, any other experiences that
Yes.
you can think of? Yeah,
Um,
okay, that was easy.
Yeah, there have been several times actually that this happened where I'm even loath to even tell you guys this, but it was like there was an overlay on everything around me, almost like an augmented reality kind of,
Yeah.
where there was one time that I could literally see the walls looked like they had flesh on them and they were breathing as I was walking down this hallway. And I could also see the actual walls, but overlaid over that was these breathing walls. And that kind of thing has happened to me several times. And it's not always been the fleshy breathing walls, it's been different stuff. Like there was a forest overlaid over it one day, and then a desert again, and then just different stuff. It was the strangest thing. And I actually read a book that described it pretty well. It's called London Falling. If you've never read it,
Never
it's
heard of it.
definitely worth reading. It's a little hard if you're not. It's a little hard to read if you're not familiar with United Kingdom colloquialisms, because it's got a lot of like slang from the UK in it, and so that took me a little while to actually catch up on all the slang for it, because I had no idea.
That's fun though. I love that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Right.
Me too.
And Neil Gaiman is actually a character in those books, which was
Such
Okay.
a good author.
yeah.
The singer, Neil Diamond.
No, Neil
Neil
Gaiman.
Gaiman.
Yeah.
Who's that?
The guy that he wrote American Gods.
Yeah, and the Sandman.
Yeah.
Sandman was
And
so good.
Coraline, if you've ever seen
And Coraline.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, but he, it was, they described it in this book as like there's several different versions of, like, and for Jack the Ripper, there's the Jack the Ripper ghost that is actually Jack the Ripper, and then there's the ones that are all the different theories that people have pretty much like willed into existence in these areas about Jack the Ripper. And so, and it was like describing it in London as there's ghosts that actually exist, and then there's ghosts that are stuff that's willed into existence by people, and then there's
Oh my.
buildings that are haunted because people have always heard they were haunted. And then there were buildings that were just actually haunted, or like vortexes for supernatural stuff. But I thought it was one of the best descriptions.
Like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah.
You know, Jamie, it's a lot like your others, and like how like multiple realities are just layered on top of each
Yes.
other at the same time.
Sometimes
Like,
they
so
just
when
lead
you're
into effect.
when you're walking down that hall, like you're walking down one of at least two hallways that we know
Right.
of. So like you're seeing two, but there could be
And
However many.
yeah.
Right.
So you definitely have some sensitivity to be able to see through whatever veil
Seriously.
dimension filter we live in, because all these things are like the universe trying to show you that crack in
Yeah.
that thing.
Even when I don't want to see it sometimes. Like, hey, I'm at work, chill out. Like,
That's the mindset I need to adopt.
yeah.
I would say that you're the most sensitive person I've met, Chris.
I don't know about all that.
No. I'm serious. Well, I mean, I've never heard of anybody having this many experiences. The people I've come into contact with are like one major event.
Yeah,
But
you
I haven't.
It's something that's spanned.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to remember too. This is over my entire life,
Mhm.
so it's not just like all happening at once.
Yeah,
It's-
but these are significant and different.
Yeah.
They're very
Yeah.
different, you know? Like the dream stuff and the reality stuff, and the seeing the different, almost like different timelines at the same time.
Have you ever spoke to anybody else in your family that, like, not necessarily your immediate family, but anyone who's even hinted towards accepting that there may be a sensitivity within the family?
Yeah, my middle brother, he's had heart problems all his life, and he recently had a heart transplant. But he said he's been able to see stuff his whole life too, and he knows that the rest of our family can. They just don't ever admit it. Me and him are the least religious of our family, so I think I'm actually, me and him aren't religious at all, as opposed to the rest of our family. I grew up in religion, but I kind of dropped it after I was an EMT for a while and saw some stuff. So,
Yeah.
Would you
Feel
say you're
that.
spiritual?
I mean, most of the people that say that, I think, are always kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say douches, but that's kind of what normally the people that say they're spiritual are. They're like those people that just always admit to like the stuff. But I mean, I guess I would fall into that category of I see strange stuff, so I guess maybe I'm spiritual in that kind of sense.
Yeah. Like an acknowledgement that there is definitely something more than just what we can
Right,
perceive.
I know
Yeah.
there's something out there. I just don't know exactly
Yeah. What it is.
don't think
Who
it's
knows
like a
what it
bug or
is?
or
Yeah.
it's demons or angels. I think there are spirits, and we like they're from different areas or different dimensions or whatever, and we can't really put our morality onto these things that are from these different dimensions. I think it's just like people. I think there are ghosts and stuff that run the gamut. They're jerks, and then there are ones that are like, hey, let me open this door for you while you got your hand full of groceries.
Yeah.
But,
I need that kind of ghost.
yeah,
Handyman ghost.
Yeah, I'm a superhero grocery shop taker, like one trip only, man.
Oh
That's why I
man.
do the same thing. My wife's always
Hands
like,
full.
slow down, you don't gotta get them all.
But
Hands
you're like,
full.
I do have to get them all though.
It's like
My
bags.
pride on this on the line.
Bags are hitting me in the face. I'm holding this soda box on the shoulder. I'll get it. I'll make it. I swear.
No, this is
Marks on
fine.
your arm. You're like, yeah.
Wrapped around my fingers. Like, oh, I got it. I got it.
Hands
Holding the
are
eggs.
turning blue.
I'll hold the eggs in my mouth. Oh,
Oh, so
I'm
funny.
glad to know I'm not the only person that
I have
does.
no idea why we do that.
I have
no,
no
it's
idea either.
you know, because it's as older I get, I learn like, so if you tell me like tomorrow something happened in New York and I have to take like a 3-hour drive to New York, I'll roll with the punches. I'm fine. Cool. I lose my fucking keys before I leave. House burnt down. Like it's
Yeah.
that like second trip that I'm not dealing with. Like I walked from the house, from the car to the house.
Yep.
That was it. I'm in. Not going back.
Yep.
The little shitty
Yeah,
things.
the
in
toilet
life.
paper can wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, like,
You know what? I didn't even want to go anywhere today.
yeah. No, yeah, I love those days when like one little thing happens and you're like, done, back to bed. Nope.
I tried. I want it to be known I tried.
So, speaking of trying, I'll tell a little story. When I lived in New York and I was a technician, like my bosses had no sympathy for you whatsoever. Like you went to work regardless. It was a couple years ago. We had like a giant snowstorm, and I mean it snowed like my car was covered. I had an Accord, and it was covered to the top. I woke up early. I was ready. I shoveled everything out. I went inside, showered, told my boss like, you know, I'm running late, but I got the car out. I showed him a picture of like how much I shoveled to be like, this is why I'm late. I come back out, and the plow came by and literally
No.
doubled the amount of snow that was on my car. I sent the picture. I said, I'm going back to bed. I was like, I'm not doing this again. There's no way I'm coming in. Oh, it was- no,
I'd
it was-
have been the same way. I'd have been like, no, that ain't worth
And
it.
it's like that
No.
heavy snow, and I was like, I felt so good. Like I was a couple years younger. I was like, yeah, I got this. It's not again.
But I do
doing
not
it
have
twice.
this twice.
Nope.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Meanwhile, in the South, we were like, there might be flurries. We're not going anywhere tomorrow.
So now I'm in the middle. Now I'm in Pennsylvania where like snow is expected, and they have that southern mentality where like nothing stops them. So like they hear it snows, the streets are brined like 24 hours before, plows are constant. Yeah, they don't play around. Like nope, and they all
Yeah,
have
that's how
trucks.
North Dakota is, man. They don't give a fuck when it comes to winter. They're like, oh shit, it looks like it's about to snow. They'll start spraying and then
Yeah.
salting, and then you'll hear them at fucking 3-4 in the morning.
It works though,
Yeah,
works.
it does.
because
Yeah,
New
I'm not
York,
mad.
man, they don't get out until after it starts snowing,
Mhm.
And then they just make ice skating rinks all over the place.
Oh yeah, man, they're playing with giant Tonka toys. It's so sick.
Well, enough complaining.
Okay,
Snow.
so you know the whole salt thing.
Yeah.
Like for us, we need it, right? So we can drive our cars around. But think about all the animals that get sick from all the salt, right? And so my point is that to those animals, we would be demons.
Right.
We're throwing salt down because we're like killing them. And so sometimes I wonder if that's kind of what's happening here, that they don't really realize that like we're sentient beings. Or at first they didn't realize. And then now it's like they've embedded and they're like, oh no, they actually can talk and they have feelings.
But you think the animals like think we're a bunch of like idiot apes? I'm like, oh my god, what is wrong with
like,
these?
oh my god.
What is
Don't worry about
happening
this
right
human.
now?
They're fine. Like ants. Just it's fine. Just kill them. You know?
And now they understand we're outside, we're sentient.
Yeah. Or how a big buffet and it'll be filled with like sushi, for example, right? Which is like raw fish.
Yeah, it's so
So
good.
then I was thinking
Most
like,
people
what
know
if-
it's sushi.
No, but like what if like aliens had raw humans to eat? We would think that was like horrible and disgusting, right?
Just
But, like,
reptiles.
the aliens, they're like, fuck yeah, we're having sushi tonight. And it's just humans. Right?
Human sashimi.
You're talking to a pescatarian.
So, like to fish,
So-
we would be the demons.
Yeah.
There was actually this movie I saw. It was about something like that where these fishermen just kept going missing and stuff, and they could never figure out why. And it ended up being these aliens were abducting these fishermen to
Shut
study.
the fuck up. Are you serious?
Yeah, no, I'm 100%. It was a movie. I can't remember what it was called. I'll have to look it up for you. But it was a movie, and these like marine biologists were out there, and they were studying fish, like taking them out of the water and like studying them and stuff, and then putting them back. And then they, like, this girl's family had all been abducted. You find out at the end of the movie it was aliens, and that they had been abducting people, and they were comparing it, what the aliens were doing, to what these people were doing with these fish. Like that fish doesn't know what the hell's going on when you pick it up out of the water to study it, and then you put it back in, and it's confused as hell. But it was the most frightening experience of its existence.
Exactly. They're
Yeah.
like, holy fuck, I just got abducted. And they're like, no, we're just trying to check on you, make sure you're okay. You're like tagging you.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
like a zoo.
And
Why are
then
you squirming so much?
all
I'm
the
just
fish
pulling this hook out of your mouth.
big ass-
Like, it
I'm
doesn't
just
hurt.
trying to get a fecal sample. Before you're like, quit anal
Yeah.
probing me.
I've been there. Yeah. I've been there 16 years.
Getting probed?
No, doing getting fecal samples.
Oh.
That would be a whole nother
I'm glad
podcast.
you clarified, Josh.
Like,
I asked the hard
16 years
questions.
of being probed. Like, I'd be more famous than Travis Walton. Fuck.
There you go. Or we did an episode about like missing hunters, like the missing 411 kind of thing. A lot of hunters go missing, and I think it's possibly because they're part of sort of that food chain of, killing animals.
Bigfoot.
So, well, if you put yourself as a part of it, now you
fair game.
volunteered for being
Game.
a potential abductee.
Something else I think about that is that I think there are thin spaces between the dimensions, and that you could just accidentally wander into one while you're out in one of
Yeah.
these random places where you don't expect anything to be, and then be like, oh shit,
Yes.
what, this doesn't look like where I just was, or it looks like it, but really weird and different.
Yes.
Mhm.
I actually read a theory that the reason we have national parks, maybe state parks too, but definitely national parks, is not just because, our government was being nice and wants to protect the environment and the animals. And so, oh my God, that looks like Skinny Pete. But it's
Skinny
actually
Pete just
because
jumped
they are
through.
where the veil is thin, and that there are
Mhm.
vortexes or whatever, and that it's to protect people more. Because they didn't want these places to be developed, because
Exploited.
maybe we were told not to develop there,
Well, there's also like development jobs that government has gotten into and just completely backed out, spent millions of
Right.
dollars in prep and like broke
Like-
ground, and we're like,
Nowhere.
bye.
Yeah, now we're good.
Yeah,
Nice.
left everything, left like materials, and just never went back.
Yep. There's a bridge to nowhere out in I think it's out in California somewhere, and I'm sure there's more than just that one, where they've just ran out of funding.
Yeah.
The bridge, and then it's
Mhm.
just this bridge that halfway ends. Maybe they just found something they didn't want to find and
Exactly.
put a bridge through this.
They were like, told, like, no, you can't do this.
I think these areas are becoming more frequent, and I think that it's getting harder and harder for them to just say it's not there anymore.
Right,
And
yeah.
I definitely think the government, and at least some people in the government and in some of these organizations, have to know something about what's going on. Like
I agree completely.
they have to have some sort of, I don't want to say maybe supernatural agency
Yeah, no,
to like cover some of this stuff up. Like, you can't have
Totally agree.
people just vanish and not have a cover story, or they just create cover stories like, oh, there was an oil tanker that spilled oil and burst into flames, killing 14 people, and those people just happened to disappear in one of the national parks nearby.
Exactly. Yep. Well, there was a post on Reddit. I think it was up yesterday, and I still haven't read the whole thing. It's very dense, but it's like a whistleblower basically who's anonymous, saying like, I used to work for one of those agencies and I quit because it was not a good place to work. But saying that kind of stuff, or that like essentially, if you spilled the beans that you were killed, that there was no way around it, and that
So Boeing.
happening. Yeah. Right? It's crazy. But I feel like all of this stuff is coming to light, and I don't know exactly why. Like the age of Aquarius,
I think there's a lot of reasons.
the polar shift. Is it? I don't know. Your cat is very cute. Anyway, where are you? Your boyfriend, is that a boy or a girl?
It's a boy.
Skinny Pete!
He is cute.
We have a potential mate for you. I'll be
Pimping her
honest
cat out.
with you. She has a lot of admirers, but she's solidly single.
She better be spayed.
Oh yeah, my cats are all fixed.
My
Well,
cat stayed.
She is spayed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you better spay.
Yeah. But she's still hot.
Yeah, I'm not saying everything still works.
Are you saying Skinny Pete is not hot?
Yeah. Are you saying my cat's not hot?
Super hot. Foxy even.
Ooh, nice tie-in.
Whoa. It's a callback.
All right, Chris. Any other weird stuff you want to talk about? Tell us about.
Can't really think of anything else. So I think I pretty much covered.
Yeah, not
Most
like
of the
you were
ones I
short
had.
on anything at all.
Yeah, no.
This
But
is way
if,
more than I realized you were gonna have. This is amazing.
I would invite you back if you have any updates, anything. Contact us. If you have any more of those dreams, definitely shoot us an email.
Yeah.
I wanna stay up on that.
Yeah,
Seriously.
I'll come back anytime you guys want me.
Cool.
And the CE5 thing, if you ever dabble in that, let us know if anything happens. And do you meditate?
I do when we do yoga, but
Okay.
I've been kind of shitty at doing yoga recently. So
Fair enough.
It's easy to say, yeah, I do yoga. Like, when's the last time you did yoga? Well, it's been a year.
yeah, it's been a good while for me. But
Yeah. Okay. I find it interesting, anyone who is, it's almost like you don't have to, because you're already tapped in that way.
Mhm.
That it's like 24/7 kind of thing for you. Interesting.
He lives a life.
Yeah.
The life of saying horrible things on occasion.
Well, Chris Bledsoe lives very close to you. You should reach out to him and tell him how sensitive you are. Mm-hmm. See if he'll
Random
invite
email.
you. Mhm.
Yeah.
You never know.
Seriously.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, we appreciate it, Chris. Thank you so much for sharing with us and being comfortable enough to share with us.
No
Yeah,
problem.
man, it means a lot.
Yeah, it really does. Thank you
I'm
so
glad
much.
you guys wanted to have me and hear my stories.
Yeah.
man. Anytime.
Yeah.
And if anybody has anything similar to what Chris has experienced, we definitely would love to hear from you.
I'd love to hear
And
about it too.
right, we love. We had someone on. I have elevator dreams where the elevator's like out of control, and that's how I learned to lucid dream. And we had a guest on, and she has the elevator dreams, and then another guest also had the elevator dreams, and I thought I was the only one in the world that had.
Nope.
I mean, I never even thought about other people having similar dreams. So anytime I think you can find that common ground, it just makes you feel less alone. And
Oh, yeah.
that's the whole point of what we're doing here. So thank you so much for sharing everything with us. And you were like, "This is weird," and we're all like, "No, nothing.
Keep going.
This is everything."
This is our world. This is where we live. This is our pocket.
We love it.
All right, Chris. Well, you have a good night.
Thanks,
And
you too.
we hope to see you again.
Oh yeah,
Take it
definitely.
easy, man.
Anytime you guys want to have me, I'll come back and talk to you.
Okay, that's
Sure.
great.
Sounds good.
Yeah, keep us updated on how things are going and let us
Yeah,
know.
or if you guys have anybody else that has these dreams, I'd love to talk with them too.
I will.
I would love
Yeah,
to
if
know
anybody's
that.
got any sort of weird dreams that they've had or any elevator dreams, hit us up at SSOSpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear about it.
Love it. Thank you so much.
All right.
No
Good night,
problem.
Chris.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Okay, you
Bye,
too.
baby.
Bye.
Bye.
He was great.
Yeah, that was super cool.
Super connected. He's tapped into something.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely being contacted by aliens for sure. And like that's crazy that he like brought up the mantis ones and stuff because you hear about different kinds of
Yeah.
aliens.
I don't even know that he realizes just how
Mm-mm.
special he is.
No,
Not yet.
no. He's one of those people that's gonna walk through one of these things and not come back, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, he never said anything."
He said a lot of things
Yeah,
right
now
here.
he did. Now he did. Now we have the tapes.
Yeah, the box is gonna come
Now,
back.
now they're gonna be corrupted somehow.
Yeah, right. Files won't load. Ugh.
Almost reminds me of like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. How they can just like walk through the wardrobe, you know? into
Yeah,
different
Well, that's the vibe I'm getting. Even when he described the fox,
Mhm.
that whole scene is like it was just outside of some kind of like wardrobe portal type thing where it just like popped
Yeah.
right back into another dimension.
Yeah.
The thrumming's interesting. If anyone's had that, I want to know about that.
Yes.
The dream thrumming, that whatever that is.
Just that rush of power, I guess, going through. Just feels like a sonic boom just goes through you, I guess. That's how I would feel it like it would be.
Yeah.
Almost
I think
like
about
drums, like a Friday night football game where it's like,
being in front of like a concert speaker.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Or I mean, if you've ever been by like a large explosion, like that does like it creates like a pressure vacuum, and you like not only do you like feel the thrum, like for a split second, like there's no air, like everything is like I wonder if it's like that.
I found it fascinating that he said he could like feel the sand and the heat from the sun.
Yeah, very, very good lucid dream.
Yeah, like as if it were real. Like,
Yeah, I get the feeling that those aren't dreams.
Yeah, no.
That part of it's not a dream.
I agree with you.
He's getting taken out of the dream. His
I agree.
whatever soul complex part of the body, whatever thing is getting
Taken
and
somewhere else.
and that's what that guy was doing, in my opinion, was like, hey,
Totally.
Abducting him.
yeah,
Mhm.
like I can talk to this part of you now.
Yes.
So, you guys, I'm sure, have like listened to like deep meditation and hypnosis and all that kind of stuff. A lot of time, what they're telling you is like they're not talking to you. Like, don't listen to me. Your subconscious is listening to me. Don't worry about it. You don't need to consciously absorb my words. Your subconscious is doing it. So I feel like that's what the thing is, like sends that wave out. Maybe even like puts his body to sleep further, so he's not disturbed. And or that's his separation. Like people describe like feeling a snapback, or like maybe that's like he's getting sucked out. I don't know.
No, I agree with you. Like that out of body experience, and that's what I was saying. Is like evidently there's like a pop kind of feel to it when you would do it. I haven't experienced it, but his is even like more profound.
I get the feeling that some of these things don't know. that he knows. Like that thing
Oh,
on
yeah.
the side of the road, I really get the vibe that was like
It's just
a mutual surprise.
oh.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's like before like his other buddy comes through the thing, like, no, he could see like
Reminds me of a Ghost with Whoopi Goldberg, where she pretends to be a psychic.
Mm.
And then Patrick Swayze is really trying to communicate with her, and she can't even believe that.
she denies it like
She
hardcore. Yeah.
denies it, and then he can't believe that she can feel him and see him. Same kind of
I
thing.
don't know.
What like
Who
with
is
his
to know?
gifts, what he can do with that. That would be really interesting to know.
Repeat that, I'm sorry.
Like with the gifts that he has, because he's got some gifts that are pretty spectacular.
Mhm.
Like, what can he do with them?
If he
here?
applied them, like if he like,
Yeah.
knew how to
Yeah. And maybe he's already doing it, he just doesn't realize it.
that, and from what 99.9% of our guests, like it doesn't matter, it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even just stories we talk about, like everything is just
Mhm.
let it go, man. You don't your
Mhm.
soul already made these decisions. Your spirit guides are already guiding you.
Just let it go.
And I would say also one thing, and I think for you guys as well, just telling the story it's really hard to tell it so publicly, and
Yeah.
him, I feel like it's probably a big deal that he came on the show to talk
Mhm.
about it.
Yeah.
If it's just that he's got one brother that's like, yeah, this is real, like,
And the rest of his family's just denying what they're seeing.
yeah, exactly. And so that's a hard space to be in, where you're like, no, I swear to God, this is real, and other people aren't really believing you or wanting to listen or anything.
Mhm.
And so I really appreciate he came on the show,
Yeah, it
and
was
to
super cool.
encourage anybody else that we really want to hear it and we believe you. And
Everything.
Yeah, hit us
And
up
the
at SSOSpodcast@gmail.com, man. We'd love to
Yeah.
hear about it.
and the more we talk about this stuff, the easier it gets, and the less alone that we really are.
And I think this guest and this story was a good contrast to some of the more professional people that are like have made their livings off of these
Yeah.
things that are fully dived into it. Like this is for lack of a better term, like laymen like us who's just
Yes.
living life and experiencing things, not
Mhm.
seeing clients on a daily basis where they're
Right.
seeing their heavy spirits attached to them, or
Mhm.
We're really looking for it.
or doing hypnosis for clients.
Exactly. Yeah, he's not even looking for it.
Mm-mm.
Mhm.
Keeps finding him.
It's
Very cool.
pretty crazy.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
All right.
Thinking about those dreams that there's something like with all the stuff we talked about, fascinating. But
Yeah.
like my spidey, I'm tingling when he's
Mhm.
Was the
talking about that
dreaming?
dream. There's
Oh, yeah.
something there, yeah.
And the way it
It's
happened
nothing.
is like several nights in a row.
Mhm.
Because I don't know about you guys, but sure. And yes, the elevator dream, but the elevator's always a little different or whatever. I've never had anything like that where it was subsequent nights and then it was almost as if it just picked up where it ended off the night before. Like I've never been able to go back into a dream.
Nope.
If you're dreaming
Never.
something really excellent and you wake up and you can never go back into it exactly the way it was. But this,
I have 3 nightmares
okay, what are they?
my whole entire life that I remember. I'm
Okay.
not gonna describe each one of them.
I
But
don't
like,
have anywhere else to be.
huh?
I don't have anywhere else to be.
Sure. Okay. So fine.
Tell me.
So one of my first ever dreams of like a real nightmare, and this one I still to
Uh-huh.
this day think meant something that I don't know what it meant.
Mhm.
Right. So we lived in this house, a normal house. I don't need to describe the house, but in the dining room I had like a little Casio keyboard thing.
Mhm.
I was probably. If I was in that house, I was under 8 years old. So I was probably like 7 or 6. And I was having a dream, super real. I'm at that Casio keyboard. My family's having some kind of get together. There's people everywhere. And like, I feel that there's someone like here, like behind me. And I just think it's like a friend or a cousin or something and whatever. Like I'm playing, I actually think it was Saints Go Marching. And I think I actually remember the song. Like it was preloaded on the
Mhm.
Casio thing. And I turned around, and like this person behind me had the most hideous like boar face, like straight up like a boar, just sloppy boar, and like just growled at me, and I was like woken up and I was scared to death.
Oh, what the fuck?
That was it. So that's one, right? My second, I was probably a little bit older. I was in the other house. So I was probably almost more of a teenager. And you know, like you have falling dreams. Like you feel like you're falling, but that's usually right when you're falling asleep.
Yeah.
I was out. This was like middle of the night. I have this dream. I'm with the Addams family in a hot air balloon over Manhattan.
Classic Addams family.
I don't know why. Again, dreams, man. I have no idea. But like in the dream, like I'm having a great time. This is the Addams family. Like they're fucking awesome. Like, you know, like Wednesday's probably Christina Ricci in my mind. So I'm like, oh my God, she's hot. Like everything's going good, right? All of a sudden, like you got Super Addams family and like start like jumping off. And like, look, I'm gonna land on like the spike, the Empire State Building, and haha, like, blah, blah. And fucking Gomez just pushes me out, and I'm holding on, and I remember like the terror of holding on to the side of a hot air balloon, and then falling, and then waking up like from the fall, and like, you know, that was two, right? That one I laugh at. It's weird.
It is a good one.
And I'll remember.
Is that recurring? That's a
No,
recurring.
I was like a teenager. No, none of these are recurring. These are one time, the only hardcore dreams that I remember, right?
Okay.
The other one, I'm probably around the same age, probably a little bit older.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but my family's outside of our house, and there's this like giant spider, like not like this, not
I'm
like,
out.
you know, like the shit from
Wake
like
me up,
Harry
please.
Potter, like, you know.
Fuck all that.
Yeah.
But so picture that big. It's
Yeah.
on the side of my house, but it's like an orb weaver. Do you know what like an orb weaver spider looks like with those skinny
Yeah.
ass legs?
Yeah, it looks like a nope.
Like a writing spider.
Big
Like a
nope.
nope.
Yep.
8-legged nopes.
And it won't let us in the house.
Oh, God.
Like everywhere, every time we try to get in, it's like, yeah. And like, it's just a prolonged,
This is my house now.
Attempt
Like, yep,
of
no,
that-
all
that.
you.
yeah. And that's, I don't know. The first one, I think, was weird. I have a different emotional feel when I think about it. The other two are just, I think, I was probably going through shit with my family. Probably wanted to get out of the house. Probably wanted them out of the house. And like, what would keep them out? A big fucking spider.
Yeah, no, that would be terrifying.
The Addams
Which is
family,
why I would
yeah.
never live in Australia.
I love Australia too. I want to go. Like I say, like I've been there, but I want
Now,
to go
New
there.
Zealand has no bad animals or insects or anything,
They probably have spiders.
but not like killing spiders.
I don't know, man. They're terrifying.
Australia is scary.
Everything's there to kill you.
Yeah.
It was a prison colony.
Isolation. It's a crazy thing, man. All their animals were isolated, so they all evolved.
To kill each other?
Yeah. Well, what's crazy about those
It's
animals?
literally Godzilla of the real world.
Yeah. If you plop one apex predator from any other continent
Yeah.
into that area,
Yeah.
90% of those animals have no natural defenses to it.
Really?
There's never, like, if you drop like a puma in the middle of the fucking outback, its biggest predator is what, a dingo? A competition, and a dingo's not gonna stop a fucking cat. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, man, I
the
wonder
sun-
if a moose could live out there.
the sun would kill it.
yeah, the
They're
cat
not
would probably
adapted
survive.
to the
That's
heat
true.
and the
That's
lack
true.
of water.
The cat would. The big cat would.
I don't think so. The cat would die immediately.
Cats are desert animals. All cats derive from the desert. They're all dehydrated.
all cats are
Technically,
very
They're
late.
all dehydrated.
all cats are dehydrated. Like if you do blood work
That's why
on a
they're
cat,
so pissy.
if you do blood work on a cat, 99% of the time they'll be slightly dehydrated.
Really?
Yeah, and a lot of cats don't drink water. Like a lot of owners will have to substitute water for like canned food to make sure that they're taking in hydration. They don't naturally seek hydration like a dog goes to a bowl 12 times a day and
Yeah.
Oh man,
Like
our
no.
cat drinks out of our dog's bowl
Yeah.
So does my
all the
cat.
time. Yeah,
So does my
he's
cat.
drinking water like a motherfucker. He's hydrating.
Yeah,
his
it's
shit.
just-
Oh no.
This
I'll
has been
tell
like an
Brooke
up and
about that.
down like conversation, man. We went from like
all over the place.
dying families and vehicles to
And
like
now to sad cats.
euthanasias, sad cats. Like, where's Pickle Girl when you need her? Shit.
Oh man, I could go for some ghost pickles right now.
That shit is fucking... My
Just so
daughter
like some
loves that.
spicy as fuck pickles.
I'm sorry, but I am still stuck on the donut because the donut on your shirt looks so good.
Oh yeah, donuts.
Donuts for donuts.
Because is it like a chocolate covered with sprinkles?
Yeah,
It
rainbow
is.
sprinkles.
That it is.
Yeah, it looks really good. Really good. So I have a weird segue into an upcoming episode, which we're going to do about fairies. But today I saw a post on Reddit. Someone from Australia
Mhm.
posted they brought like a potluck thing to work and it's fairy bread they eat in Australia, and it's just white bread with butter and
Mhm.
sprinkles on top, and they call it fairy bread. I know it sounds
Sprinkles.
interesting. It sounds disgusting, but
Yo,
connecting
sorry,
Australia
and,
and
like-
fairies into what we're going to be doing.
I would
We are
say to my
gonna
wife,
about-
that's white people shit.
That is
That's
some
pure
bullshit.
white people shit.
That shit is prison colony food.
I instantly pictured Will Ferrell in Elf.
Yeah, but why sprinkles? Like rainbow sprinkles on white bread? Because white bread just is not enough pure sugar anyway.
Yeah, with butter in between. Make it stick. And they're like, don't come at me. This is my culture.
Let's for whatever like sideshows thing we do or Patreon thing, let's do like a foreign food taste test thing.
Oh, that would be
Like
so
we'll get
sick.
like weird food, we'll make the recipes and we'll all like taste it.
Yeah.
Okay.
This
And
is
if you're a
like when we
listener,
get together.
yeah,
real
or
life?
even now, yeah, either way.
I don't
We can
cook.
plan it.
So
Oh yeah, you don't cook. That's
I
right.
don't.
Figure it out.
I
But
just
we can
might-
get one of those like snack box thingies, like from different countries. Those are cool.
Oh, that would be fun. And we just taste test a different snack together every
yeah.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
If anyone has any
I love that.
suggestions for like things that like you think we would like or not like to
Not a
try,
suggestion. Vegemite. I've never tried it.
nope,
Oh.
been there, done that. Nope, nope, you can do it. It's all you. It's
Maybe
all,
we can all
oh,
try.
I'll
some
be here
fairy-
for you to
Oh!
experience it.
You
How
know,
about when we do our fairy episode, we all fix a little fairy bread to eat?
yeah, that's what I mean. Like we could do that, and then other
Sounds real
times-
white people.
Yeah, I'm not. It's gonna be gross. I'm gonna take it down. Little nibble.
I think I can
Um,
manage to cook that because there's no cooking.
Not even like pound cake.
You don't even taste it. I do make good pound cake.
No, but like not you. I meant like you don't even put the sprinkles and the butter on the pound cake. Like you put it on white bread. Like almost nothing belongs on white bread.
Not
Or
even white
jelly.
bread.
Tomatoes and mayonnaise. Come on now.
A
Everybody knows.
BLT is good on a white
Oh
bread.
man, cucumber
right?
sandwich is so much better than a tomato sandwich, though.
Yes,
I mean,
but
all delicious.
but-
And you gotta put that shit on white bread.
a cucumber
Put it on
sandwich
any bread.
on like a wheat or like a more grainy bread, definitely better.
Oh yeah, I'm a honey wheat bread all day,
There you go.
all
But-
day.
Got
Honey wheat,
peanut butter and
If you
jelly
like
is good on white
white
bread.
Bread. What?
huh?
Peanut butter and jelly is good on white bread.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's
it
gotta be
is.
white bread.
Yeah, and then that's like the end of sandwiches on white bread.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Or
butter
like,
and sprinkles definitely don't belong on them, man. You guys insane.
It's like cocaine and Chinese food. It just doesn't mix.
Yo, I couldn't imagine. Like,
so what if we have some listeners in Australia right now who are like, these motherfuckers are making fun of our fairy bread.
awesome.
Right
Yeah.
into
So
the show, like
we will
fairy
try it.
bread. I think
And
they need to.
I won't enjoy it, but I'll try it.
But if it is good, I will admit that it is good. Like I won't just
I think for
say
our
it's
fairy
shitty if it's
episode,
not.
we all need to fix fairy bread to try.
All right, cool.
All right, we'll do it.
I think that
Then in
we should
solidarity,
all independently record ourselves making
fairy
fairy
bread.
bread.
Can I show the listeners something? So when we're talking about having to go get ingredients for fairy bread,
If you're
Oh,
listening
God.
right now and you're not watching, Jamie just picked us all up and is
yeah.
rummaging through her
So
house.
do you want to see? I'm like, I gotta get
she
bread.
doesn't cook.
I gotta get sprinkles and butter.
And now
Or she doesn't have the things to make fairy
we're
bread.
staring at the light to the
They're
next level of heaven.
There's
And it's a
literally
complete-
nothing.
Oh, you have a Brita? That's dope.
No, I know
Sorry.
single dudes with more shit in the refrigerator than
I
you.
know. I just have water and a Brita filter.
I mean, I almost am mad at you for even having it plugged in.
I do have that. See? Frozen food.
Frozen food, there you go.
I live like a man. I live like a bachelor.
I shouldn't be like making super. I get like a meal plan or I like order food all the time. We barely cook anymore.
Oh, dude, I love cooking. Like that's all we do now is like hardly eat out.
We
That's
used
my
to. We
jam.
were really good.
There was something you fixed one time, Josh. It was like salmon, and then you had
Oh yeah, it was really good.
vegetables. That's
Salmon and like creamy spinach with bacon in it. Oh man,
Oh,
so
that does sound good.
wow.
So often I get hungry.
This is
though.
why I'm sick AF.
That's,
Donut heavy episode.
text my wife. She's probably at home. Tell her to get some donuts.
All right, I gotta go check on my kid.
Go.
Okay. Night.
Thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate you.
Bye,
Yeah.
guys.
Bye.
I forgot about that part.
Thank you for listening. If you would like to join us as a guest, suggest a topic, or have a story you want us to share, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at SSOSpodcast@gmail.com. For more behind-the-scenes updates and exclusive insights about SSOS, make sure to follow us on social media. And don't miss out on the fun. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, thank you for listening to the Secret Society of Strangers podcast. This show is an independent production, researched and crafted by our passionate team. But we couldn't do it without all of you. We truly appreciate your support. Embrace the unknown, for not all secrets are meant to be kept. Farewell, strangers.